Though we have all traveled many uncertain roads, we have always recognized something wasn't right. We searched high and low, yet our paths had never intersected. Our desire to seek truth, then to speak true, has brought us all together. That thing of ours is rooted in truth, because truth is the only unshakable foundation. In the greatest book, it states in John 8:32, "For ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free."
Truth is a powerful force. It is the foundation on which all great achievements are built, and the bedrock of trust and respect in any relationship. When we are rooted in truth, we can be confident that our decisions and actions are grounded in reality rather than in speculation or wishful thinking.
The pursuit of truth is not always easy. It requires courage, perseverance, and a willingness to face uncomfortable facts. But in the end, the truth is always worth it. It allows us to make better decisions, to build stronger relationships, and to create a more just and equitable world.
From politics and world events to entertainment and pop culture, we've got you covered. We'll explore our history and the stories that matter to uncover the truth that lies at the heart of each one. With our fingers on the pulse of the news cycle, we'll provide the insights and analysis you need to stay informed and engaged. As we stay rooted in truth and let the truth guide us in all that we do, let us be willing to listen, to learn, and seek out the facts, even when they challenge our own assumption or belief.
Let us never forget that the pursuit of truth is not just an individual endeavor, but a collective one. Only by working together
With honesty and integrity,
can we build a better future for ourselves
And for generations to come.
This is That Thing of Ours.
How's it going, everybody? Thank you for joining us today on this Thursday, 20th of February, 2025. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Rumble, and Pill.net.
And if you haven't already, please take a minute and give us that virtual hug. If you're over on Rumble or YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're over on Pill.net,
Didn't have the sound
you
on.
made me laugh.
My bad.
Take that red pill. If you're over on X, smash that heart. And if you're on Facebook, you're our family. And Cash got confirmed today.
And
so
Cash
go
got
over
confirmed.
there and clickety click away.
Yep, without a doubt. Clickety click. I have no idea where that mouse was just clicking. Whatever. All right. We got the clickety clicks, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there we go.
Say
Woohoo.
hi to the family.
We should say hi to the fam.
Got F. Clint in the house.
Yo, what's up, F. Clint?
Got Aaron in the house.
What's up, Aaron?
Got Dawn in the house.
Hey, Dawn.
Yeah.
About to head to work. Oh, so glad Cash is in. Yeah.
Tuesdays and
It's-
Thursdays they work late.
It's
Remember
going to
that.
be lit here
Yeah,
soon.
it is. Got Steph in the house.
Hey, Steph.
Got Chachi in the house.
Hey, Chachi.
We got Miss Angie in the house.
Hey, Ange.
We got Liberty in the house.
What's up, Liberty?
There's Mike.
Hey, Mike. What's
hope
going
you're
on?
feeling
Hope
better.
you're feeling 100% today.
So, is everyone excited about Cash getting in?
Oh, yeah. I agree with Liberty. Heads are about to roll now.
I think so.
There's going to be some perp walks.
Mhm. Hey, Carol.
Hey, Carol.
Be careful driving.
Yeah, be safe. Not careful. We know you're careful. Just be safe.
Yes, be safe.
Because, yeah, you got to watch out out there.
Yeah, because, there's
Because,
people that get driver's license out of Cracker Jack boxes.
yeah, make driver's ed great again.
Right.
Please make driver's ed great again.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So why don't we just dive right in? Because I know that there's tons of things going on today.
It really is.
Mhm.
You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let's listen.
All righty.
All right, we have an FBI Director, Kash Patel, getting 51 votes in a Senate-wide confirmation vote just a moment ago to 49 noes, which means that 2 Republican senators did not vote for him. For that and more, let's go to senior correspondent Chad Pergram, who's following all the moves on Capitol Hill. Chad?
Good afternoon, John. Well, Bernie Moreno, the Republican senator from Ohio, just read the vote total, 51 to 49. Mitch McConnell, the former Republican leader who announced his retirement earlier today, he voted yes. Some people thought he might vote no. but there were 2 GOP no's. You had Lisa Murkowski of Alaska and Susan Collins of Maine. So 51-49, they did not need J.D. Vance here to break a tie in this instance. I should note that this is only the second nominee who's gotten more than one GOP no. You had Mitch McConnell, who's voted, being the only no on the Republican side a couple of times here. You have to go back to Pete Hegseth in late January, who got 3 GOP no's, Collins, Murkowski, and McConnell, and Vance had to break the tie to confirm Hegseth as the defense secretary. But he's been confirmed, and now the Senate goes on to the budget debate. This establishes the framework for the president's domestic policy agenda. That's something they'll be getting into in just the next couple of minutes. Lindsey Graham, the Republican senator from South Carolina, who is the chairman of the Budget Committee, speaking right now. And they will have what they call a vote-a-rama on the Senate floor, where they vote and they vote. And did I say they vote? They will be doing this all night long as they set up this framework for the president's budget proposal.
Thoughts?
Ooh, all right. So obviously the naysayers are going to start disappearing here real quick. I just got some strange feeling. Kash Patel did say that he would release the Epstein list on day 1. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it today, but I know that he's going to be able to do it here real quick. And I think that that's going to make a lot of things change real fast. Certainly shut up a lot of the people who have been making some noise. Maybe not all the politicians, but I know some of the politicians found their way out to that stupid little island. And yeah, that's not going to be good for them. Liberty says, yeah, Alaska and Maine are woke women idiot rhinos. Yeah, not too worried about them. Let's see what else. Oh, okay. And then I wanted to share this Delta, Q-drop Delta from, let's see. Oh, yeah, that's right. 2020, 5 years ago to the day. Q-proof, Kash Patel, Quanon. And this was this entire thing was about Kash getting moved to a new committee after they made it seem like Kash wasn't going to go anywhere. And so just wanted to make this little connection here. Isn't it strange that to the day, 5 years to the day that Kash Patel, he's confirmed? Isn't that interesting?
That's amazing.
That's pretty interesting.
So,
how many coincidences does it take till it's a mathematical impossibility for it to just be an accident?
Exactly. Staff heads are going to roll.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
So, this was the vote. Watch this.
The yeas are 51. The nays are 49. The confirmation is confirmed. Under the previous order, the motion to reconsider is considered made and laid upon the table, and the president will be immediately notified of the Senate's action.
Somebody wanted to reconsider, and they basically told him to F off.
Oh, well. Well, yeah, no such thing as a coincidence. Certainly doesn't seem like it, does it, Chachi? Not when it comes to any of this. Yeah. So much for all those conspiracy theorists. There may have actually been something to this whole thing. And truly, would it have been illegal? I just want to do a little sidetrack here and think about this. Let's say that there was some military type operation that was going on in the background to take America back from this corruption that we already see. Is that a bad thing? Is that an unconstitutional thing? I don't know. I don't know if that would stand up in a court of law, because they were actually saving the Republic and the Constitution with which they all swore to protect. I think that in, what is it? In love and war, all is fair in love and war.
Mm-hmm.
And would anybody be upset once the truth comes out? I don't think so. I mean, maybe that 1 to 3% that's never going to wake up, but democracy and all that.
Yeah, exactly. Goodness gracious. Are you ready?
Yes.
Can you read that, please?
RFK Jr. says Health and Human Services employees are welcoming him with open arms.
Did you see the last Health and Human Services director?
Well, at least this one looks like he's healthy.
And he knows that he's a man.
And he knows that he's a he. Well, I don't know about a man, but he knows that he's a he.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly RFK knows he's a man.
Yeah.
But that other thing, well, I mean, there's probably, what was
you know
it?
what I mean.
Glitch McConnell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Mitch in a dress.
an address. Let's listen.
All right, let's listen.
Mr. Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
I'm Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and I'm President Trump's Secretary of HHS. My main mission at HHS, in which I hope that you will all join me, is to reverse the chronic disease epidemic in America. I did a welcoming speech and introduced myself to all the personnel at HHS and invited them into the endeavor of making America healthy. I was really bowled over by the enthusiasm that I got. I got to meet most of the people here, at least briefly. We all took photos together, we took selfies. One after the other, people came up to me and said, I've been waiting for this for my whole career for 20 years. We want to unleash science. We want to do really good, unimpeded science. And that was very, very gratifying to me.
Produced by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Thoughts?
I'm getting all choked up. I'm loving the winning right now. The winning is absolutely amazing. And of course, there's people there who want to see RFK Jr. come in and do what is basically real medical science, real science,
Yeah.
where we actually figure out what is and what is not a reality and be able to tell the people the truth. Because if it's the truth and you share it, then you can't do anything wrong. That's the whole point of the damn government. So, man, I am just so motivated, and I'm happy to see that these people were there. And I'm sure that all those people that were excited to see RFK Jr., those are the people who want medicine to be great the way it's supposed to be. Those are the people who want to make sure that the vaccines are safe. How many of those people actually know how detrimental to people's health so many of these things are? And now they finally get a chance to do what they joined HHS for. Now think about those fights. Think about the fight that you would have had to have taken on when you were in Health and Human Services, and you got to go through the string of all of these perverted, twisted, mentally ill people who have been running the show. It's awful.
Yeah.
It's awful. I feel bad for those people who've had to put up with it this entire time. All right. So, yeah, Aaron said flood, 100%. Thank you for that Rumble rant, sir. Do truly appreciate that.
Love you, brother.
Yeah, love you, brother. Steph says, I think we're past the drip, 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 drip. I think we're in the flood part. No, we're not. No, the flood part starts when Kash releases the Epstein list. After all, it's being held at the FBI.
Yes, it is.
And how many other things. The flood comes, I think the flood of information is going to come simultaneously with the arrests. I think that the public arrests and the perp walks that we're about to watch, that's when the flood happens, because it is going to inundate everybody, and everybody's going to be talking about. People are still talking about Diddy. Now they're doing it in a joking matter. Wait until they find out about adrenochrome. Wait until they find out how adrenochrome is extracted, I guess, harvested. I don't know which word you'd want to use for something like that. That's when the flood happens. And it's definitely a much faster drip at this point in time. I agree with y'all there. But we're still in the drip phase, folks. It's going to be a wild ride. Make sure your hands and arms are inside the moving vehicle at all times. Hey, Sheriff Hector, thanks for joining, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There we go. Okay. I was just noticing that. Aaron says, we don't want medicine. We want real healing. I say that real medicine provides healing. But I agree with you 100%. Now we finally have a chance to have healing, health and human services.
Mm-hmm.
And health means healing. And I think that the healing of the American people is about to be beyond comprehension. And when people find out that horse dewormer that the Mockingbird legacy media spoke about, once people find out that they got lied to and that their mom, their dad, their kid, you name it, could have been saved by ivermectin as a possibility, because I know it doesn't cure all of them, but I know that it has significant positive effects in so many ways. Man, people are going to be pissed. And once people start making that personal connection, once it becomes personal to them, even the people on the far, far left are going to be like, I've been lied to. That's the very thing that makes people open their eyes, is when it's so personal that they have to open their eyes. It gets peeled. Their eyes get peeled open. Just look. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Anyways, Aaron says the seal was broken. Cash was confirmed today. Yeah. That's big seal was broken today.
And I agree with him there. The flood isn't for those of us that have lied on high ground our whole lives. It's for the ones that never believed a flood could come about.
And you know what? The people who we were calling it black-pilled for a long time, where they just stopped believing in the whole Q thing. And I know there were people like that, and you do what you can, try to tell them and help them recognize that, hey, this is still happening. It's just it's one of those things where we need to I lost my train of thought. Anyways, why don't we go ahead and play the next video, because I know you got to do stuff over there.
Yes. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you read that, please?
Commerce Secretary Lutnick confirmed that the Trump administration is looking to abolish the IRS.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, you watch it, we're going to do it.
If you get savings from these DOGE cuts, are you going to give any of this back to the American people? We keep hearing about these DOGE dividends.
Well, think about it. Donald Trump announces the External Revenue Service, and his goal is very simple. His goal is to abolish the Internal Revenue Service and let all the outsiders pay. I mean, this is someone who is focused on America. Let's drive down our waste, fraud, and abuse. I'll give you an example. Cruise ships. You ever see a cruise ship with an American flag on the back? They have flags of like Liberia or Panama. None of them pay taxes. None of them pay taxes. Every super tanker, none pays taxes. Alcohol, all foreign alcohol, no taxes. This is going to end under Donald Trump, and those taxes are going to be paid, and Americans' tax rates are going to come down. That's what Donald Trump wants to do. Balance our budget and cut our taxes. I mean, imagine a Democratic senator going against that. What planet are these people?
Thoughts?
So, we know that President Trump loves this country and that he's going to do whatever it is that's in the best interest of the American people. And I know a lot of people are saying, you know what, keep your $5,000. I would rather it go to pay off the debt. But I think that that makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, I think that there's something else going on in the background. I think that Fort Knox, once it gets doged, and people find out that the gold is missing. And I think that the gold is missing. And here's why I think it's missing. And I saw an interesting news article today talking about how the Fed was probably leasing our gold out. Didn't know this was a thing. Apparently you can lease gold for a period of time. And that would be why when Germany asked for its money, they were told, or for its gold, they were told, sorry, you got to wait 7 years before you can get that, because we got to get it all together, basically, is what it is. They've been doing the same thing with their gold that they've been doing with their cash, just kind of kicking everything down the road, kicking it down the road. And then what happens with that is they've been going off of the value of what the gold America supposedly has, but at the same time leasing that gold out so that way other countries could use gold, because countries don't use dollars as much as they use gold for international transactions and stuff like that. And so that's the amount of gold that these countries have been moving around this entire time. And so that's another way to say, oh, look, the Federal Reserve has been irresponsible with your money. And so meanwhile, what's going to happen is they're going to give everybody a whole bunch of money. A lot of people are going to pay off bills. A lot of people are going to go and buy a new, Porsche or some dumb, overpriced Volkswagen or some shit. And then they're, but the thing is that money goes right back into the economy, therefore reducing the amount of inflation that's going to be happening, especially with the inflation with all of the food and everything that's going on. They did a really good job trying to sabotage everything. And so now, once we find out that the gold is gone, they're basically going to say, you know what? the dollar just doesn't work, and they're going to have a plan in place once they recognize that they already know what they're going to do with the dollar. And so they're going to debase all of what they were doing against we the people with the moves that they're going to make. And then they're going to pull the rug out from underneath the Fed. And then we go into a brand new monetary system that very next day. They'll freeze the price of the dollar to the new dollar, rainbow currency. I know a lot of people have been calling it that. It's going to be played out in a very specific way for a specific reason. And I do not believe that it's to ensure that we are still debt slaves and free range tax chickens. And, again, getting back to the IRS, yeah, the IRS is going to go away, but I don't think all those people are going to lose their job. I think that the corrupt ones and the ones that take a perverse pleasure and abuse the authority that the IRS has. Oh, you don't want to be my girlfriend? I'm going to audit you for the next 30 years. Those kinds of clowns, those people are getting launched. But the people that were actually trying to do the right thing for the people of the United States, those are going to be the people that end up going straight over to the External Revenue Service. And then we won't need an IRS because we were never designed to have taxes on the people. All right. So Chachi says, I bet the $5,000 is a number amount for the haters to get rug pulled and surprised.
I could see that.
I could see that. That makes sense.
Uh-huh.
All righty.
You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
How about some Calley?
Now I could go for some Calley.
Let's listen.
All right.
Hey, Christian, can I encourage you today? I know that it feels like you're honoring God, like you're trying to obey him, but you still aren't seeing the promise he gave you. God, you promised you'd bless us. Your word says you'll heal us. God, you're supposed to be the provider and I need help. Look, if that's you today, can I remind you of something? Don't you stop on 6. Okay, what do you mean? You remember the story of Naaman, right? He was the soldier who got leprosy, but he hears there is a prophet in Israel who serves the real God, who may know how to heal him. So Naaman gets his whole crew together and they head to see the prophet. But when they get there, the prophet doesn't even come to the door. He sends out his intern, who then tells Naaman, go dip in the Jordan River 7 times and you will be healed. You see, your healing, your blessing, your miracle, your whatever is always going to be tied to your obedience. But hey, that's no big deal, right? Just go dip myself in the water 7 times and I'll get healed. I can handle that. But that's not what Naaman did. You see, the Bible says that Naaman turned around to leave angry. Angry? Why you mad, bro? Come on, this sounds so easy. You see, Naaman got angry because he thought it was going to look a lot differently. You see, Naaman thought, I'm a great man. Why isn't this prophet himself coming out to meet me? And he got mad. The Jordan River, dip myself in that? That water's nasty, son. Don't you know who I am? You see, to us, this sounds ridiculous. Dude, just go get in the water. You'll be healed. I mean, come on. We do the same thing to God all the time, don't we? We go to God with our request. We take him our needs, our wants, our desires. But then we get frustrated when God wants to actually deliver, and we don't like the way he does it. You see, the Bible says that Naaman turned to leave angry. And Naaman said, I thought this mighty man would come out and do something amazing. I thought he would wave his hands over the spots and they would go away. Let me tell you something, my friends. Those 2 words right there have cost so many people their miracle, their blessing, their whatever. Because when God started to show up in their life, it didn't look the way they wanted. I thought it was going to happen like this. I thought it was going to look like this. And because it didn't happen the way I thought, then I'm out. But the truth is, his thoughts are not our thoughts. His ways are not our ways. We need to have great expectation on who is going to show up and who is going to meet the need. But we need to have no expectation on how and when he meets the need. Yeah, but Kelly, you said we're going to talk about don't stop on 6. We have, what do you talk, 6? Hold on, I'm getting there. You see, thank God Naaman had someone in his crew to help him out. Proverbs 27:17 says, as iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend. Naaman had a friend with him that day and reminded him, if the prophet had come out and told you to do some great thing, wouldn't you have done it? And why not try this easy thing? So Naaman does. He gets in the water and he dips the first time. Comes out of the water, and I guarantee you he looked at that leprosy on his arm. And guess what? It was still there. So he dips again, still there. Dips a 3rd time, still there. 4 and 5, still there. And then he dips again, number 6. Now, put yourself into this story for a second. You were already reluctant to even get in the water. And now you've dipped 6 times and the leprosy hasn't faded at all. You see, right here on dip number 6, that's when the enemy really starts to whisper to you, this isn't working. This is ridiculous. If God is real, why didn't he just take it away on dip 1? You see, some of you are right here. Right now, today, you're on number 6 and you've got a choice to make. I can make a choice to go down one more time, to trust God and believe in his word, that he's never failed anybody and he won't start with me. Or you can make the choice to quit. You can stop believing. You can say, God, this is ridiculous. You're not a man of your word. But let me tell you this. If you stop on 6, you'll never see your miracle. You'll never receive the blessing. You'll never experience the breakthrough. Don't stop on 6. You see, every single one of you is going to come to a point where it feels like obeying God is ridiculous. Like it feels like he forgot about you, that he's not a man of his word. But oh, friends, when you get to that point, what that really means is you're so close. Now the enemy's really lying to you because he knows you're so close. Yes, God could have healed you on number 1. He could have healed you on 2 through 5, but he didn't because he wants to build your faith. He wants you to put your trust and your hope in him, to say, God, it doesn't matter what it looks like around me. I trust you. And God, even if nothing happens on 7, I'm going to do it because you asked me to. And I'm not in this, God, for what I can get out of it. I'm in it to be close to you. You see, the good news is Naaman did dip one more time. And oh, son, when he came out on 7, he was completely healed. And hey, you don't have to take Naaman's word for it either. Just ask Joshua and his boys at Jericho. They could have stopped on 6 too, but they didn't. And those walls came a-tumbling down, just like yours are about to. And think about that for a minute. Hey, if this...
All right. First of all,
Think about that for a minute.
watch out for the frogs, Jenny.
Watch out for the frogs, Jenny. All right, there. I think we got the frogs
Yes.
now.
Now,
All right.
thoughts.
All right, so thoughts. You know, the story of Naaman is like, it's a really big story, and it's been
I know, and he got
important
so
to me as
mad
well.
because the assistant came out. It was like, dude, he still told you how to heal.
But he gave the great analogy, or the comparison and contrast between the Roman soldier who didn't, you know, he just said, all you have to do is say, and I know he's healed, and that's the faith we're looking for. Whereas Naaman, on the other hand, he had this specific thing in his head, and that's one of the problems is we get this idea inside of our head as to what we think things should look like, and that ends up blinding us in the end, which is exactly what happened. It blinds us from actually getting what we wanted because we become a roadblock to it. We stop losing that we stop having that faith of a mustard seed, you know, and it may seem weird and it may not seem like it makes any sense, but at the same time, it is about taking it again. 7 is the number of completion in the Bible. It is to taking it to completion, which means, and that's one of the big things about 17 is it's 1 and 7, beginning to end. And so we have to go through each one of those 7 steps before we can receive the gifts. So it has to be done to completion. It has to be done perfectly. It's like the story of the refiner's fire. God keeps putting that silver back in the fire and removes the dross and keeps taking it back out until he can see his own reflection in that piece of silver. And then all of the impurities are out at that point in time. Same thing. It may not make sense to us, and we must keep our faith, but that is the very thing that's necessary for us to be able to receive the gifts that we're asking for.
Absolutely. Because, you know, like he said, what if he would have stopped on 6?
Well, story would have been different.
A lot different.
Hey, Vanessa, thanks for joining.
You ready?
Yeah.
Can you read that, please?
All right. CIA is operating Reaper drones in Mexico, searching for fentanyl labs and cartel bosses.
Let's listen. Bases, not bosses. Bases.
Bosses. Well, the bosses too.
Yeah. Let's listen.
It's the boss fight now.
There you go.
We're seeing these Reaper drones quite literally on the hunt in international airspace over in Mexico, looking for the criminal drug cartels and their fentanyl labs. They are ramping up their operations and combating these criminal organizations, something that the president, of course, promises to designate them as a terrorist organization. So these are called MQ-9 Reaper drones, and they're out there carrying out these stealthy, covert missions. And they are not currently armed, but they can be equipped with payloads for precision strikes. The CIA, however, has not been authorized to use these drones to take lethal actions, officials told the New York Times, adding that they do not envision using these drones to conduct airstrikes. For now, the CIA officers in Mexico are passing information that is being collected by these drones to Mexican officials. They are adamant about finding these fentanyl labs, dismantling them, which apparently emit chemicals that make them easier to find from the air. And that's why they are doing this from the air with these drones, because of that access. Now, the CIA has reportedly flown surveillance drones to hunt cartels inside Mexico before, partnering with Mexican authorities. But here's the deal. With the more recent flights that were communicated to Congress, they were actually under the Trump administration using a particular notification that's reserved for new or updated covert programs that the CIA intends either to conceal or deny. That is what a source familiar with the matter said, adding that the notifications made no mention of Mexican partners this time around. So we talked with Darren Gobb. He is a geopolitical strategist, a U.S. Army veteran, and a former Black Hawk pilot, about the CIA's covert drone missions in Mexico. Take a listen to what he said.
For the most part, I do not want to see America trounce on its own constitution and just invade a foreign nation without a well thought out concept of how you get there, and having the people of this nation accept the risk through Congress to do something. Now, I'm not saying that we would decide to, quote, invade Mexico, but if you're crossing the border into a foreign country with the U.S. military forces intent on accomplishing something like that, that looks a lot like an invasion. And you've just changed the situation significantly.
Now, Nicole, when it comes to the Mexico side of things, President Sheinbaum, she was pressed on these drones breaching that airspace over in Mexico. She kind of played it off today during a news conference, just saying it's part of a little campaign. Now, when it comes to the president, he, of course, day one said he was going to crack down on the criminal cartels. This week, Nicole, we expect the president to make that formal designation of that terrorist organization for at least 6 cartels and gangs over in Mexico, Nicole. So we'll be waiting for that this week.
All right, so Allie, let's talk about your report yesterday. Border Patrol had stopped using body cameras because of possible detection by criminals, but it sounds like that move is already now being reversed.
Yeah, and about face already just a few days after that initial alert was sent out, telling Border Patrol that they needed to stop using their cameras right away. And it was because of a couple of reasons here. So one of the reasons was that these cameras actually emit a radio frequency that can trip off improvised explosive devices. The other issue was that there was information circulating on social media, quite literally giving a play-by-play on how to kind of tap into these systems and find out where these agents and officers are. So right now, Nicole, I have reached out to Axon, who is a manufacturer, and also to Border Patrol to find out what the fix is, because today they said the stand down is lifted. They are now set to resume normal operations and wear those cameras again. However, I haven't heard from Axon or CBP on what the solution was or how they're mitigating this risk, Nicole.
Thoughts?
All right. So I can see the comments are ablaze about letting the enemies know and stuff like that. But first thing I want to do is point out what Chachi said. I think admitting they won't use them for airstrikes means that they will use them for airstrikes. Yeah, it's still CIA, right? And these are the good guys that are actually utilizing these projects. If they are telling them that we are sending Reaper drones over, because keep in mind, originally it was the Predator, which is the exact same airframe, chassis, whatever, and it's just a bigger engine, okay? And the difference is that the Predator drone was just an electronics package that sat there and looked however it looked, right? Whereas the Reaper drone has the bigger engine in it. It also has the hookups for the missiles. So yeah, I have a feeling that those things are armed, and if they find an excellent target of opportunity, that if a target of opportunity presented itself, that they would contact the White House. President, we have so-and-so, we can take them out now. Here's everything that's on the ground. No children, whatever, those kinds of things. And then President Trump would give us, some kind of a speech. We just took out the leader of blah, 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 blah. So I do believe that that's the case. What they're not telling you and what's not being said at this point in time is all of those cartels are based out of Mexico. That makes Mexico a state sponsor of terrorist or designated international terrorist organizations. That gives the president tons and tons of leeway in which to prosecute the national security, how he sees or how he deems fit. And so it just hasn't been stated yet. That's the quiet part right now, is that Mexico is a state sponsor of terrorism. And I think that that's why we're hearing about this, is it's letting them know, the leadership who was put in place by the Sinaloa cartel. If my research is correct, the current president, whatever her non-Hispanic name is, was propped up there and put up there by one of the cartels. So we're in your backyard and there's nothing you can do about it. It's also a reminder of, yes, we taught you everything you know, but we didn't teach you everything we know.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the find out phase for them. The terrorist organizations, if you will. This is the FA, or they have already FA'd. Now they're FOing, and it's a cat and mouse game, because they're going to be happy to play games with them because they've been playing games for a long time. They just chose the wrong horse and decided to do it the wrong way. Mike says, we have far better drones than these. Oh, yes, we do. Those are the ones they're not talking about.
Yeah.
Those are all over the place. And they're probably, there's some that are probably, they're making it known that those drones are there. And some of those drones, nobody knows about.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron says, but designated terrorist is a legal definition of a criminal. It means we can send in the Marines and all the others too. Yes, it does.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly what that means. But if it's a state sponsor of terrorism, then that opens the door for any number of military or whatever actions, because they're on our southern border. Right now, he's closing. He's taking away even the cabal's entrenched supporters out in other countries right now, and cleaning up the problem that is the government of Mexico is probably one of the things that's happening right now.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
Can you read that, please?
What is something they told you in school that you found out is a lie?
Let's listen.
All right.
Tell me, what is something they told you in school that you found out is a complete lie?
That you'll need to be able to do advanced math without a calculator, that the food pyramid was designed for your health and not the cereal industry, that you should trust the experts, but don't question why they all work for the same corporations, that if we don't pay our taxes, we wouldn't have any roads, that the banks need bailouts or else we'd be in a recession forever, that homeschooling leads to indoctrinating children, and universities with 97% left-leaning professors definitely don't, that the CIA would never arm terrorists in foreign countries to create vassal states, that Hollywood celebrities would never have a suspiciously high rate of grooming children, that pharmaceutical companies definitely deserve immunity from all those strange health anomalies over the last 3 years. Oh, shit.
Thoughts?
All right. So, surprise, just in case you hadn't heard any of this information before, that's like a real thing.
Mm-hmm. It really is.
That's why the Department of Education's getting canned. It's going to be gutted, and I'm sure it's going to be very painful for all of those people at the Department of Education. I know there's a couple of good ones in
I'm
there.
sure they'll be on 60 Minutes crying.
Oh, they'll be, yeah, of course they'll be on 60 Minutes crying. They have those who they've chosen to try to maintain the sob story narrative about how evil Trump is, but people just don't care anymore. It's not working because they're a bunch of Karens. But it's It's high time that the people recognize how awful the education system is. And I don't know, I know that there's a lot of woke school systems out there. Las Vegas might have one of them. I'm not sure. But I'm going to say that it's going to be more difficult for them to continue their practices that they've been doing as more and more people take their kids out of the education system because they recognize their kids aren't getting the education they need. I mean, everybody says they don't teach them how to balance a checkbook. They don't teach them about, how to use a credit card, how credit works.
The important
the
stuff.
things that you actually need to know. We do need to have the kids learning advanced math and algebra. Actually, you use it all the time in a professional setting, especially if you plan on moving up. And a lot of people use algebra and they don't even know it every single day. And it's just kind of one of those things where it needs to be made to make sense. And with as much money has been dumped into the education system, the fact that every single student is not an absolute genius based off of reading, writing, and arithmetic, I'm going to say that that nobody really cares about what they say anymore. It's going to finally give us that chance to give the overhaul to the education system that we need. And the government has lost credibility in so many ways to say, this is what makes kids smart. Well, yeah, you say that, but you're the same people who have been benefiting off all of the fraud, waste, and abuse. So what are you actually teaching my kid? That's not how it's supposed to work. Again, it's more exposure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, EWB? Thanks for joining.
You ready?
Yeah.
Can you read that, please?
American Patriot delivers emotional response to revelations of massive government waste.
Let's listen.
I've been trying to find the right word of how I feel about what's going on. The revelation of all this stuff that's going on as far as the money that's being exposed that has been sent and how they have abused the system and the corruption and everything like that. And the best word I can come up with as a 67-year-old United States citizen born in St. Joseph's Hospital of Orange, California, 1957, long time ago. And my dad fought in that Second World War, and my grandfather fought in the First World War, and my brother was in the service during Nam. He didn't go to Nam. I have a nephew that's in the Army right now. The betrayal that I feel for that's the word. It's betrayal. It's betrayal. That's the word that I'm feeling. I'm feeling like the country that I grew up in and that I supported with a waving of a flag and a singing of a song and with all this emotion and all this grit has betrayed me, but not just me, every single person who's ever been born in this country. We've all been betrayed, and yet watch the people who want to keep the betrayal going. That is what tears me up and makes me more angry, is that you've used me. You used my grandfather, my dad. Since we got here in 1638, my family's been here a long time. And every single conflict that we've been in, my family is part of it. Either as an officer or an infantry guy or a chaplain or somebody, we had a book that's really thick that expresses our history. Every one of those people are betrayed. Today, we're all betrayed by this corrupt government that is now being exposed, but by God, and I'm not cursing, I'm just saying, by God, may the betrayal be vindicated. That's all I'm saying. May the betrayal be vindicated.
Thoughts?
It's a good video. I don't know where he's been politically or anything like that, but it sounds like he's just now starting to have his eyes peeled open. And congratulations, you see it, and we're thankful that you can see it too. And we're glad that you will be supporting this and you will be able to talk about how it makes you feel, because that's your testimony. And that's something that we all need to recognize is why is America important to me? And I can give you a million reasons generationally, just like he did. It's waking up to this shitty reality pulled out of a battery box of jelly in the Matrix that tears me up a lot. And I knew this stuff in the mid 90s. And you know what? That's fine. It's good that we have these people that are waking up. I think that that's important. And that's what we need to focus on. We need to focus on the positivity of the situation. And we need to recognize that this is another truth warrior right now. And he looks like he's doing well for himself. He looks like he's, well kept, fancy painting in the background, kept, kind of close frame. So I think that he's going to have quite a bit of influence. And the fact that he's able to talk to his friends, he may have friends in Martha's Vineyard or something like that, or in Laguna Beach, where, these people are so insulated from reality. And these are the kinds of people, that we need to wake up if he is in fact part of that little group there. But it's necessary. And it goes to show you that people are getting red pilled every single day about what's been going on. And that's just the beginning of his journey. And that's great. And hopefully he reaches out, and hopefully it becomes this beautiful thing, because I would say that that's what we need. We need people just to see the truth. It doesn't require any organization other than, hey, we agree with you, good job. And, we do what we can when we can. And that's a great story. Jenny says, more will be waking up, the more that goes down now that Kash is confirmed. I agree. I agree with you 100%. He should thank God he has lived through it. And I think I think that if he hasn't got to that point, he will, because he's already respectful of the way he was using God. And so it will also help Christianity in that way for the people who are Christians and try to live a God-fearing life, by watching, their words and what they say. They recognize all of these things that we should all be getting taught, about how we should navigate through life in a Christian kind of way, or in a biblically following kind of way. I can't think of the right word, but you get what I'm saying. Anyways, by that, it will help open his eyes to that this really is, because it doesn't sound like he's there yet, that this really is good versus evil.
It is.
And got snowed by the evil.
Yeah, very much so.
Well, the good thing is he's saved in that regard, and he will help save others.
Yes.
That's a good thing.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Can you read that, please?
Dr. Jack Kruse reveals mind-blowing history of why all our devices are blue lit.
Let's listen.
Mm-hmm.
All your computer screens are blue lit. The reason none of them are red lit, the reason none of them pay attention to circadian biology, is because that original technology was developed in a government program that Bobby Kennedy knows about, and I happen to know about because I went to medical school at LSU. For those of you who've never heard about Operation Paperclip, you think it's all conspiracy theory. So at Tulane Neurology and Tulane Neurosurgery in the 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s, the CIA started a program there where they would do all these crazy things to monkeys. The CIA wanted to see how they could control things utilizing different things like drugs and things like that. Where the neurosurgeons got involved, which is my clade, we would drill tops of the heads off, put wires into the thalamus, put electricity in there, and kind of see what kind of behavioral changes we could have. One of the guys that was in that program was a guy named Professor Delgado. When he saw that we could control the behavior with the wired device, he said, what if we do it wirelessly? So he checked it in monkeys and checked it in bulls, and it turned out you can do it wirelessly with RFID chips and semiconductors. Then the CIA took it to the next level. They said, well, since this is electromagnetic radiation, what if we did it through light through screens? And it turns out you can. And that's the reason why all your computer screens have the frequencies they have. So why is this all important? Well, the person that set this meeting up between me and Bobby is the patent attorney that made sure that Google and Meta have those things so they can control the things that we all do. Where did the original idea come from that started off in MK Ultra with the CIA? You're going to be surprised when you hear this. It came from the mafia in Las Vegas. They wanted to build a new city in a desert. They enclosed it all, blacked out the windows, invented slot machines that were blue lit, And they found out that they didn't have to take a gun, stick it in your face to steal your money. Then they even got smart. They said, let's give people free alcohol while they're doing that. And they found out they got the money quicker. And that's when the CIA got the idea to start this program. That's really how it started.
Thoughts?
All right. So I think that this is another exposure. I think these are going to be more things that are found out and talked about on a regular basis in terms of the technology and how they've been using it against us. We know that blue light keeps us awake. That's why it's so easy to stay up all night on your phone, on the computer, whatever it is, and people get stuck on it. It is all mind control. They figured out how they can keep people attached to this box that's telling them how to think and how to act and how to do everything. And they're, meanwhile, they got all the advertisements on there. So they're telling you exactly what you should be purchasing and influencing what you think and feel. And so this is a little bit deeper in the conspiracy world than just merely, hey, there's a bunch of people stealing money. Think about the chasm between those two levels of awakening. And so we still got a lot of awakening to do. And it's an important thing that these videos are put out there so that way people can see, because these are things that we need to continue to talk about. People are open to different concepts. People understand that Vegas didn't get this big, one, because they were passing money out, and two, because they just happened to figure out how to get money from people. And the casinos are designed, and it's something it's talked about. It's not even a
If you ever
secret.
come to Vegas and want to gamble, just walk up to the door, throw $20 in, and walk away.
It's just drop 20 off at the cashier counter and say thanks, walk off.
So much better.
Look, there is an entertainment value to it. I'm not trying to say don't come to Vegas, because that would sound an awful lot like Obama.
No,
Actually,
no,
Vegas
we're
is
not.
Vegas is a great
Vegas-
place.
Yeah,
It's
Vegas
just
is amazing, but it's not just the Strip.
It's
we
not
have
just the
so much more
Yeah.
to Vegas than the Strip. We have Red Rock. We have the Valley of Fire. We have so much more than the Strip, and
Yeah.
it is Mount Charleston. It's beautiful,
Mhm.
beautiful.
Absolutely. It's an amazing state, and it's worth a visit.
Right here behind us, this picture behind us is Red Rock.
But that one?
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, wait, behind us. No, Red Rock's over there.
I'm talking about on the screen.
Oh,
sir.
is that Red Rock?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
Red Rock.
Okay. I thought that was Valley of Fire, but whatever.
Nope.
Anyways,
You ready?
it's not red enough for Valley of Fire. I know better.
Yeah.
All right.
Are you ready?
Yeah, please.
How about some Michael Todd?
All right.
Let's listen.
All righty.
So some of y'all are going to have to go on a date. To invest, I'm just waiting on my man. I'm praying and fasting. You're gonna be alone for the rest of your life, because God will not date for you. He won't have a hard conversation for you. He'll give you the strength to have it, but there are many things that we're wanting God to do that he will empower you to do. If you'll rip up your list, put it on the altar, and then ask him, what am I supposed to lean that direction? Am I supposed to investigate? And this is the last thing I'll say. Every date for all my single people that you go on, and it's not it teaches you something that hones your skill for the person you're supposed to be with.
Thoughts?
All right. I truly appreciate everything he was saying. It is one of those things. I know that the single people out there, it can be a wild, crazy world out there. But if you take each one of those incidents where something happened and you recognize and you understand the red flags about things that you don't like, it will help you whittle people out faster than it was before. Recognize you're still learning something, and as you learn, you get better at it, and you will find that person. But you have to be able to understand what you like and don't like first before you can actually truly appreciate that one that's supposed to be for you out there. I know they're out there somewhere. Not everybody's supposed to be alone. Some people are happy with that, and good for them. I like how you popped up right then. Some people like to be alone.
I like being with you. I just met like us. We weren't looking for a relationship, but we found each other and we did the hard work to be together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And still hard work,
Mm-hmm.
but it's good.
It's good.
Because there's growth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we should be looking for, is that growth.
Absolutely.
So don't get disheartened, friends. It's also that you can learn what it is you need to learn.
Absolutely. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Can you read that, please?
Mollie Hemingway says, with DOGE, we're finally having a fight that has been 100 years in the making.
Let's listen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think focusing on that. I think the big issue here is we're finally having a fight that has been 100 years in the making. We have a constitution which has 3 branches of government. You know, Congress is the most important, the first one, the executive and the judiciary. But over the last 100 years, we've built up this 4th, completely unconstitutional branch of government that enforces the laws, creates the laws in many cases, this regulatory state, this administrative state, the bureaucracy. And when Democrats are president, that bureaucracy goes very well and it helps them. And when Republicans are president, it works as a fight against it. And so the question is, can you have a constitutional system of government with this completely unaccountable, unelected 4th branch of government? And so all of these court cases, like, we'll see how it all ends up, but that's what it's about. That's why Democrats are freaking out about it. And that's why Trump has chosen this battle. Right. And to that.
Thoughts?
So this is something that's been brewing for a long time. I mean, she hit the nail on the head on that, but I say a lot of it has to do with what is it? Oh yeah, Jekyll Island. I think that has a lot to do with it. But we are going through all of this. It's showing how corrupt the government can get, unlike a corrupt government ever seen up to this point in time in the history of humanity. At least antediluvian. I mean, who knows what it was like before then? There's not enough information, but that's all right. Anyway, so this is a fight that's been coming for a long time. And we know that this is a fight that's been coming for a long time because people have been telling the truth in allegory since at least The Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
They were trying to wake people up back then too. We weren't there. People understood Teddy Roosevelt was trying to do what's going on right now. It's just, it's something that's been brewing for a long time. And that's why we need to make sure that everything that they promised comes to pass, i.e. the Epstein flight logs and everything comes out, that people need to be brought to justice. And that we can't just accept that big mega corporations, i.e. the East India Trading Company, it needs to be completely rooted out and launched out of our nation as soon as we can. And we can't stop until then. We cannot stop.
Yeah.
Hey, Todd, how you doing, man?
Welcome.
Welcome in, friend.
You ready?
Yeah.
Can you read that, please?
Republican lawmakers need to learn from the first month of President Trump's second administration.
Let's listen.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
You know, we had Senator Lankford on earlier, and I think it is important to note he and some other Republicans were willing to essentially negotiate our sovereignty. And what we have seen this past month is that you don't have to compromise on our safety and our security. You could do what Donald Trump did. He brings back Remain in Mexico. He cancels the CBP-1 app. He says he's going to reconstruct the border wall. He designates cartels as terrorist organizations. There is stuff that can happen when there is real leadership, and it should be a note to Republicans and to people like Joe Biden that he had opportunity after opportunity and sacrificed this country for political gain.
That's great points all around. Thank you, Borelli.
I want
to. Thoughts?
Okay, so obviously politicians are taking note, and they're going to see what they, what the secret sauce is. And a lot of them will be blind to it because they just want to get reelected and they don't care about anything but their own pocketbook. But most of those people are going to be taken away. And then there's going to be those who care about power. But the only people that are going to be able to do the thing that President Trump is doing are the people that are selfless about it. The people that are that want to make the country better for everybody's sake, as opposed to just one person or one little group of people. That's the thing that has created the division is that we've had politicians that pick and choose who their favored group is. But the real magic sauce about all of this, to be able to clean this country up, is the fact that you have to care about everybody. Otherwise, you'll never be able to see what the best thing is for all 330 million people that live here. Growth is awesome, little lunker.
Yes.
I agree.
Very much so.
And yeah,
And we are growing.
We are growing.
And we're uniting.
Mhm.
And that's important.
Hmm.
You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you read that, please?
DOGE versus Ukraine is already happening.
Well, I wanted you to read this down here, but that's okay.
Okay. Or has it already happened behind the scenes? There. Feel better now?
DOGE versus Ukraine funding is coming. That's the article by Katie Pavlik over at townhall.com. And I'm going to argue that it's already here. I think that they already know, they being DOGE, the White House, President Trump, Elon Musk, they already know. They've already discovered a ton of corruption, a ton of money laundering, weapons laundering. They've already got Vladimir Zelensky and probably a whole bunch of people here in the United States. They've already got him dead to rights. It's done. It's over. The reason that I think this is because you have both President Trump and Elon Musk sounding off very aggressively, more aggressively than they normally would, unless they know something that we don't know. President Trump actually went out and called Vladimir Zelensky a dictator. Elon Musk said in regards to the potential of finding waste pertaining to Ukrainian aid, he announced that there were likely kickbacks. Let's go to the article itself, though. During an interview with Fox News host Sean Hannity, yada, yada, yada. You all saw that. Let's cut to the part. So far, DOGE has visited the Treasury Department, IRS, USAID, and EPA with its technology, and now billions of dollars sent to Ukraine under the Biden administration is on the list for scrutiny. Musk posted on X that, quote, kickbacks are involved. This is he also somebody else had posted. Elon Musk hints
What's up, Rambo?
that they will be auditing U.S. funds sent to Ukraine in 2024. The Pentagon admitted at least $2 billion in Ukraine funding is unaccounted for, and Ukraine president admits much of it has been lost. He actually even came out and said that he was missing like $100 billion, as I recall. So yeah, a lot of money flowing through Ukraine, being laundered through Ukraine. A lot of weapons being sent to Ukraine, and according to Tucker Carlson, at least half of those weapons are found their way to the black market and are being sold to, for example, the Mexican cartels, and Lord knows who else it's being sold to. I think they already have done at least a partial audit. I think they're already very well aware that there's corruption, that Zelensky is in trouble, that people like, who knows, Nancy Pelosi or Joe Biden himself or Kamala Harris or whoever, they're in trouble too. And probably a whole bunch of people in the Republican Party as well, especially the people that are neocons, warmongers, people that are owned by the military industrial complex. To me, it's a trap. Okay. President Trump doesn't punch that hard without being punched first. He doesn't punch that hard, calling him a dictator, unless he knows something that we don't know. Elon Musk wouldn't just come out and say, oh, there's kickbacks involved, unless he already knows. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe they're just feeling confident, feeling like they know what's about to happen. Maybe they don't have foreknowledge, but either way, I think that we are going to find massive amounts of fraud, massive amounts of corruption, and yes, massive amounts of laundering being done through the most corrupt nation. As far as Western nations go, Ukraine is hands down by far, not even close, head and tails above all the rest, the most corrupt. That's where you send people, I don't know, like Hunter Biden. That's where you send people to where they can do crazy, bad, evil things, get rich schemes for government officials. And as far as they're concerned, they will never be caught. Because it looks like this time, for once, praise God for this if it's true, maybe they will get caught. Finally.
Thoughts?
Oh, I believe it to be true. I believe it's already done. We're just watching the movie at this point in time. All right. So the whole Zelensky thing is about to fall apart. Keep in mind that dude is in his 6th year of a 5-year term.
Yeah.
And
he's already said he's not holding an election.
Yeah, he's not holding an election, and he would lose the election based off of internal Ukrainian polling because they don't like his ass either.
Yeah.
Right?
Which is why he's not holding an election.
Which is why he's not holding the election. And I have a sneaky suspicion that President Trump and Putin are kind of working with each other and toying with them and letting him screw himself over, or giving him the chance to back out of the games that he's been playing. And apparently he's been drunk a lot lately, all those other things. So he's going the Nancy Pelosi route. He realizes he's trapped and he doesn't know what to do because he doesn't trust, that he can be saved or whatever his problem is. I don't really care about his concerns, unless his concerns are, I need to do the right thing, which he's shown time and time again that he can't do. Ukraine is known, and Ukraine has been known, and it was stated clearly that Ukraine would not be a part of NATO simply because of the amount of corruption that is the country of Ukraine. That's why so many good Ukrainian people have left that country and decided to come here. We know plenty of them. They're great people. But the thing is Zelensky he's playing a part right now. And that part is it's going to be the restructuring of everything that is Ukraine. I do believe that it's going to be its own independent state. I know that Putin is kind of wanting it to go back into not the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, the Russian Federation again, but I don't see that one happening. I think it's going to remain a free state, but it's how do I put this? It's coming, I guess, is the best way to put this. It's coming, and that is going to be another exposure. I believe that is going to be saved specifically because of saved for last or later on, because of its direct connections with Biden, with Obama, and with so many other presidents and politicians who have made those millions of dollars. I know DOGE has already, got the goods on everybody. I think they're doing fine tuning, and I think that this is a slow release of information in order to make sure that as many people can be woken up as peacefully as possible. It's all part of how it's going to play out.
Exactly. You ready?
Yes.
Can you read that, please?
Satire. Elon is a threat to democracy.
Let's listen.
Okay.
I actually wish that the government would extort us more. My name is Beck. My pronouns are they, them, and Elon is he's a threat to democracy. I'm concerned. It is in the nation's best interest to continue being extorted by the government through taxation, and it is frankly none of our business where they're spending that money. I saw a report that Elon found $4.7 trillion of untraceable spending from the Treasury Department. Who does he think he is? It is none of our business. You don't understand. Government transparency is a threat to democracy. $2.7 trillion in improper Medicare and Medicaid payments? No. Our healthcare system is literally perfect. They said that they found 20 million Americans over the age of 100 receiving Social Security benefits. Assuming that is fraud is frankly a threat to democracy. USAID is not a money laundering organization. And if you ask questions, you are a threat to democracy. No, listen, I hear you. The Pentagon failed their last 7 audits in a row. But if I mess up on my taxes, I can go to jail. And that's okay. It's not a double standard. It's not. At the end of the day, I hope and I pray that they get Elon out of there. They need to get him out of there and then just get back to extorting us through taxation without transparency. It's democracy. That is how we save it.
Thoughts?
That satire would be more funny if it didn't sound like the exact same things that they say.
I know.
But again, it brings up the thing I've been saying about democracy this whole time. Democracy works in our favor now, right? It's like, that's a threat to democracy. Actually, no, democracy is what picked this, because more than 50% of the people of this country said that we want President Trump, and without a doubt, we want Elon Musk to do DOGE, which were both known beforehand. So this is democracy in action. Maybe you should start caring about a republic in the future because you chose the wrong horse. So enjoy your democracy.
Exactly. And I know I did say hi in the chat, but hey, Wendy, hope you're feeling better.
Hey, Wendy.
You ready?
Yeah.
Let's listen. Miss Jenny sent this to me. It's really good.
Jenny.
There is science behind Jesus walking on water. This is going to blow your mind. This is obviously a supernatural miracle, but it seems as if God had science mimic this to show us that the Bible is the truth. I'm going to show you a simple experiment, and then the scripture is going to blow you away. I have some copper coins, a little ladle I made out of a paperclip, and my jar of water, just to show you that these are actually copper. Now I'm going to carefully lower one into my water. Two places in Revelation reference Jesus' feet being like burnished bronze. The Greek word for fine brass is only used in those two verses in Revelation and nowhere else in the Bible. The first part of the word means bronze, copper, or metal. And if you don't know, bronze is partly made of copper. The second part of the word is translated as frankincense or incense, but in this compound, it's debated and may refer to shining or glowing, possibly linked to purification or refinement. So his feet were made of glowing, refined copper or bronze, and look at what happens when you put them on water. This blew me away even more because I realized when I put 2 coins in the water, they don't do anything. When I put 3, they find each other. So now I'm like, did God also code in the Trinity? He is so complex with everything. God is so incredible. Most people think that this is God and this is science. But the more I read and understand the Bible, the more I realize this is God and this is science.
Thoughts?
All right. Well, I definitely agree with her conclusion that God and science can certainly work together. As a matter of fact, it was the people utilizing the actual scientific method that got us to where we're at today, because they believed and they understood that God was a real thing, and that the information that they found was merely seeking God out. So God and science are going to merge together again, and we're going to see some absolutely magical things happen once we finally get that opportunity. But until about July 4th of next year, it's going to be some house cleaning. But after that, that's when you're going to start to see that Tartaria really wasn't as magical as everybody thinks it was, so much as when humanity is unleashed, that we're capable of doing so much more than we could even think or imagine. Now, I don't know if that, I mean, it was an interesting experiment, and I appreciate the fact that she's thinking about it, but that's kind of not where I get that. But you know what? I'm glad that people are thinking like that again. And I think that's the most important part. Going to try what?
The penny experiment.
I'm sure it works because of water tension. Yeah, I'm sure it works.
Mm-hmm.
It is pretty cool. It is cool. It is really cool. Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
Let's listen.
All right. Know this guy.
So listen, we was thinking, I know you fucking lying. Lying about what? So you think y'all could boo my national anthem, get hands put on you, get your ass kicked, and then sit in my car? Oh, you talking about that? Well, see, like I thought we were gonna get, yeah, you thought, get your ass in the trunk. What's going on, man? Trunk. Good luck. Shit. And what you think you doing? Well, I was hoping I could. Get your ass in the back seat. Don T, you ain't gonna believe what these goofies. Hold that thought. So we had a meeting. So of course it was about Russia and how y'all doing us dirty. Listen, the only people getting done dirty is your own people with that migrant crisis y'all got. So y'all not doing peace talks without us and trying to tear up your allies, huh? Listen, I told y'all, man, yesterday's price is not today's price. All right, we can't be your dad no more. Dad, huh? We gonna remember that. Remember it. Write it down. Take a picture. I don't give a fuck. Wow. Anyway, after we make a peace deal, you mean after I make a peace deal? Whatever. When the peace deal gets done, we putting boots on the ground and we're gonna send some more aid. Sounds like an amazing meeting. Listen, since y'all got it all figured out, get out. Get out. Yeah, I got a country to fix. Don't slam my door. What else you got? The oldest person in the world right now, 116 years old. According to the Social Security Department, we got 3.4 million people over the age of 120. Very interesting. Round up some more contestants for Trick or Trunk. Start with Warren and Fauci. Bet that. Dear Trump, I wrote you, but you still ain't calling. Dear Canada, shut the fuck up.
Thoughts?
Okay, It brings up what's going on over there in Ukraine right now a little bit, and I didn't touch on it earlier, but because he brought up what about Europe. I know that the UK is currently talking about sending troops in to Ukraine as of right now, and Europe is trying to send a whole bunch of money over to Ukraine to prop up the corruption that they have going on. And basically, what's going to happen is they're going to deplete all of their funds, and then they're not going to be able to maintain the charade that they have. So they're going for broke, and they're going to try to start World War III with Russia, thinking that they can drag the United States into a war because of the whole NATO thing, when in all actuality, they did something unilaterally, which is not a good thing when you think about it, especially when we've heard about how much unilateral action that the United States has taken. Well, good. Britain, you can go over there. And sadly, they're playing some games right there on the border of Ukraine. But I don't think it's going to work out. And I think that that's where some of the tough talk is coming from right now with Ukraine. But we're about the other countries like Canada and Britain and all these others, just like the young man said in the video, y'all got a migrant problem that you need to be dealing with. It's all going to come crumbling down on those people who are at the head of the problems in pretty much all of Europe right now. There's some good countries out there and great leaders of those nations in Europe. And there's a lot more allies and support that will leave the countries that decide to try to start World War III to save their own ass. They're just not going to play along. And if the U.S. isn't going to play along, Britain won't be able to last against Russia. It's a great country, and they've got amazing war fighters, but they're war fighters without the support of a much larger coalition. Really don't have as much of a chance as they would like to have against Russia.
Yeah.
Chachi says they're sending it over there so we can get it scooped up by Russia and returned to us. That's a possibility too. That's pretty funny. I didn't even see it like that.
And Steph said, okay, all three of mine sunk. You have to put it in there very slowly.
Yeah. And she used a paper clip, which helps break the surface tension. Whereas if you try to use your fingers, it's going to break the surface tension around the edges of it. And it sits on top of like the bent paper clip.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then very carefully, but
very carefully. And Aaron has
I think it was more about the point of what she was making. Okay, so Aaron says copper is related to silver and gold. Were your pennies post 82 or so? If so, almost zero copper. Yeah, it's just a copper wash. Yeah, that's a zinc penny.
Yeah. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Can you read that, please?
Calley Means exposes Dr. Paul Offit's shocking conflicts of interest to his face on live TV.
Let's listen.
Trust in public health. No, it's the public health leaders themselves. It's people defending with the record that's happening to health at HHS why cuts are bad. Of course, we should make cuts. Of course, the personnel should be changed. What's causing distrust in public health authorities is conflict of interest, like Dr. Offit taking millions of dollars from pharmaceutical makers like Merck while approving and recommending pharmaceuticals on ACIP committees. It's the fact that Dr. Offit's saying that science is always settled when he himself has approved vaccines that have been recalled for causing organ failure for kids. And it's the fact that Dr. Offit is talking about measles, which is important. And I want to be clear, Hamlin, I don't want to get this out. It's important, but there were 300 deaths from measles a year before the invention of the vaccine. We have 38% of children right now having prediabetes. Bobby is focused on that. He's focused on reorganizing the department. And that's what we should be talking about, not this distraction.
Thoughts?
Education is occurring.
Yes.
And the Mockingbird media, the legacy media, is having to take their licks. They have to take their licks, and they need to. They need to be shown for the fools that they have been. And not just fools, but corrupt people telling lies on the Tell Lie vision.
Mm-hmm.
They have been part of the psychological operation. And since they wanted to play part of that psychological operation against the people of the United States, so that way they could continue to steal our freaking money from us, our labor, our hours, our hard work. They wanted to steal all of that from us. These people that were part and parcel to that conspiracy against the people of the United States, they're going to have to go ahead and take the licks, and they need to take the licks. It's good. I'm glad to see this. Hopefully fewer and fewer people will watch.
Yeah. That would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Can you read that, please?
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy is excited that SpaceX engineers are helping to fix the FAA.
Let's listen.
Mm-hmm.
But Will, it goes to the point of let's stop pointing fingers at each other and let's do the work now that should have been done 5, 10, 30 years ago. Let's do it today. So just recently you mentioned DOGE and all the attention that Elon Musk is getting. We want the best and brightest minds in America to come in and help us figure out how we fix the system. So where else do you go but SpaceX? We had some SpaceX engineers go to the FAA and just observe yesterday, Will. And they're going to craft proposals for us, a phased approach on how we might be able to fix the American system.
Thoughts?
These are the exact kinds of things that need to happen. The FAA has been kind of stuck in old ways of doing things, much like the rest of the government has. And that's based off of the funding and how money was chosen for very specific purposes, and the purposes that needed those funds never seemed to ever get the funding that could have made our air travel and the FAA and all of these different parts of the government, parts and pieces of the government all over the place. And now, so we get this house cleaning with DOGE, but at the same time, Elon Musk has a brain trust there around him because those people didn't want to go work for the government for the very reasons that we have so many problems with it. And so he has the people, and so he is going to be able to provide the brain trust that is necessary to be able to fix so many of the problems that we have. We just need people to wake up from the woke that they've been first.
Yeah, very much so.
Mm-hmm.
Because if not, they got a rude awakening coming.
Oh yeah, a lot of people are going to get awoken very rudely.
Yes.
But that's their own fault.
That is their own fault. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Miss Jenny sent this one in too, and it is about Tartaria.
Oh, nice.
Let's listen.
All right.
Well, here you go. That is the Crystal Palace of New York City, and that is the Crystal Palace of London. This building was constructed of entirely glass and iron. It was over 100,000 square feet. It was absolutely massive. It does not exist in New York City anymore, and it does not exist in London anymore. They destroyed the Crystal Palace and everything that was in it. If you want to see the flags, if you guys want to kind of see that. Everything that was contained in there was stuff that would blow people's minds. All these artifacts made out of copper, malachite, different types of stones, gold, crystalware, glass, everything. All these beautiful things were all destroyed. And you got the cute little horses. See that right there? Cute little horses just throwing up an entirely glass and iron building that is absolutely massive. You have to think of the time it would take to construct something like this, and you would just have this for a fair that doesn't make any money? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. Now imagine if you played some pipe organs in this Crystal Palace. All of those stained glass windows would resonate and you would begin to heal instantaneously. Or if there was a bell in that area, and all that glass would begin to vibrate as well. So when you look at the Crystal Palace of 1851, and this is why I want people to look back, because when you start looking at the Crystal Palace of 1851, you start thinking a little differently than what we've been told. Now, this is a photo, they say, or a drawing, or an engraving. So let me show you.
Thoughts?
All right. So the Tartaria thing is a great mystery to me. There's some evidence out there. There's actually quite a bit of evidence out there that there was a part in Russia that was called Tartaria. May have been kind of a last holdout, part of what was the greater Tartaria in the past. I have faith that humanity can do these things, especially when there isn't a television wasting our time. The giant time suck of all mankind is that damn box on the wall. And that box on the wall prevents us from reading. It prevents us from using our brains. It prevents us from coming up with some kind of a concept of something that we can do. So many people had time on their hands and the ability to come up with various ideas. That's why we advanced so much. That's why, like we've shown the video. It's been a long time since I've shown it. But the guy who makes the replacements for the stones that are falling off of these old stone buildings that were absolutely beautiful. The beauty was taken out of everybody's life because it is beauty itself that motivates mankind to do greater things.
Yes.
That's why all of our buildings look like square modern art masterpieces. It sucks away any creativity or any passion that mankind can come up with on his own. It's one of the things that I am kind of pushing back on with the whole AI thing, because that further takes people away from accessing their own intuition and their own abilities. That we didn't require these computers or giant heavy machinery to be able to do the things that we've done. I do believe that we can do these things again, but I think we could do them better with the capabilities that we have today. But we need to spend more time with ourselves and with our creator, so that way we can access those creative parts of ourselves. One person is capable of doing so much more than in the entirety of humanity gives the ability for one person to be able to do. We need to start believing in ourselves and what we're capable of doing, so that way we can bring that kind of beauty back to this world. And I would hate to give all credit to one time period, one group of people, because I believe that those capabilities are possible with all of mankind, and that it is that desire to achieve greatness and something magnificent and something that can last through the ages, like Notre Dame. I do believe that mankind can do these things. But I think that this Tartaria thing is certainly awakening people to the possibility of what mankind can do. And I'm sure that there were skills and abilities that have been lost over time because of modern techniques, because of modern like caulking, silicone caulking. It is something that it would have been considered magic. And it's one of the reasons why we don't build door frames the way we used to. It's just the way it is, because we don't need those skills like we used to. Anyways, yeah, I do like all the Tartaria stuff. Chachi says, y'all should look into the sanitary fair that occurred during the Civil War in Pennsylvania. I've never heard of that. I will certainly have to look that up. The Tartaria thing is very interesting. I'll give you all that. We're all watching you on a box on the wall, man. Yeah, I know. Could you be doing something more productive?
Hey, stop it.
They don't know the recipe for the mortar and concrete they were using back in those days. You are 100% Chachi. Yeah, 100% correct. We do not know how to make Roman concrete. We have a basic idea, but we still have yet to be able to produce it. Certainly be able to produce it on a scale that ancient Rome did.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff that gets recycled. Yeah, exactly, Wendy. If they'd stop destroying everything with fires, they wanted to destroy it, so that way there was less that we could go off of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yes.
Can you read that, please?
Here's President Donald Trump telling the media we're going to see if the gold is in Fort Knox.
Let's listen.
It's not.
I know. Let's listen.
We're going to go into Fort Knox to make sure the gold is there.
Are they gonna
You know that we're going to go into Fort Knox? Do you know about that? That was a bad bump.
Are they going to eliminate more national security positions, civilians there?
We'll see what happens. But one of the things we do want to look, we hope everything's fine with Fort Knox, but we're going to go to Fort Knox, the fabled Fort Knox, to make sure the gold is there.
Where would the gold have gone? Brought up.
If the gold isn't there, we're going to be very upset.
There we go. I was trying to find a picture, but it didn't work. Oh, here it is. Hold on one second. I've got a picture of the gold at Fort Knox. Here we go. Are we ready? There we go. Oh, wait. Nope, not that one. Oh, okay. Here it is. There it is. Right there. There it is. There's your Fort Knox gold right there.
Yep. Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate that. Don't listen to him. He's just a butthead.
Anyways, yeah, I don't think the gold is there. And again, there was all that gold, that the $250 million worth of gold, that the day that Elon Musk talked about auditing Fort Knox, that all of a sudden gold started flying into the U.S. for some strange reason. But it ain't going to be enough. And I kind of already touched this earlier in the beginning of the show about how the Fed was probably leasing the gold out, and that they're going to be caught with their pants down. It'll be another reason to switch from our fiat worthless trash dollar to a dollar that's backed by precious metals and a commodity backed dollar. We'll get there. I look forward to it. Hope says, I've been productive all day and just sat down about 20 minutes ago.
See?
All right. Jeez.
Stop giving people a hard time.
I'm not giving anybody a hard time. I'm just saying we, could do beautiful things if we just spent our time doing beautiful things.
Are you ready?
Yeah, obviously you're ready to move on.
Let's listen. Or actually, I need you to read that first.
Oh, now you want me to read? Okay. Priest says, you can't be a practicing Catholic and be part of the current Democrat Party. Whew.
Let's listen.
Apparently people can speak truth in the Catholic Church now.
You cannot be a practicing Catholic and be part of the current Democratic Party, knowing that this group is actively working for the killing of the unborn. You cannot be part of a group or an association that's focus is to bring about moral evils. This is why for centuries, the Catholic Church has made it very clear that you cannot be a Freemason, because there are foundational principles of the Freemasons that are contrary to the Catholic faith. You cannot be part of something which is essential to it, moral evils. Because you cannot be part of something and not support what is essential to it, picking and choosing what you want, what you like. And you have a moral obligation not to be part of that. There is a moral obligation here not to be part of them, regardless of whatever other good things you might think the Democratic Party is trying to bring about. Murder is a line you cannot cross.
Thoughts?
All right. Well, that's interesting to hear coming from a Catholic priest, because of all of the wokeness that the Pope, who's sick right now, prayers out to the Pope to get healthy again. But anyways, despite how woke the Pope is, it seems like people are actually able to speak truth. And I think that that's very important. And of course, I thought it was kind of funny that he had to throw the whole Freemasons in there. But that's another conversation altogether. But wow. Yeah. Because the Catholic Church that we've been hearing about for so long now is the church that says that it's okay to be a Democrat and that Jesus was a socialist and all that other crap that they've been trying to say.
Yeah, that they've been trying to say.
They've been trying to say, but no evidence for that whatsoever.
We all know.
We all know better. Yeah. I think that their attendance has taken it in the shorts. And so people, they might have to change their tone. Exactly, Hope. The gold will destroy the Fed. 100%. Wendy says, Pope ain't around anymore. His character's still around.
Character's here.
Yeah, he's still here.
Yeah. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
How about some Craig?
Yes.
Let's listen.
We don't just fight sexual temptation. You read all these verses about fight temptation, fight temptation. You fight temptation. When you read about sexual temptation, the Bible says flee. Flee, don't fight, flee. Okay. If you run into a bear, my recommendation is you run. You're like, hey, I've been doing kickboxing lessons. Want some of me? No. No. That's the way sexual temptation is. Okay, you don't fight it. You run, Forrest. You run. You get out of their.
Run, Forrest, run.
Run, Forrest, run.
Thoughts?
All right. So any temptation, it's more. There are 7 deadly sins. Whatever your temptation is, flee from that. Make that distance between you and the issues that you have. If it's consumption, then by all means separate yourself from whatever consumes you more than you consume it. The human passions, the sins of the flesh, and we know what our issues are. Whatever that may be, the best thing you can do is to try to put distance between you and that issue. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
Wendy says, I'm just ready for the reveals. We're getting close. We are getting close, and we're all ready. But again, it's a stepped process. It requires a counter psychological operation to be able to help people out of the Stockholm syndrome that they're in.
Yes.
If we can help people get past their Stockholm syndrome and be able to accept the truth, then it's much easier to provide all of the truths out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But we are getting very close, especially now that Kash has been made director of the FBI.
I know. That's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
You ready?
I fully expect, he said day 1, but I'm going to go ahead and give him a week before he releases the Epstein stuff. But wow, oh wait, hold on. When I'll do a search. Go ahead.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Can you read that, please?
Of course you want me to read it. JD Vance says, we cannot rebuild Western civilization with millions of illegal immigration. There's so much in just that one sentence right there. I got so much to say about this.
You ready?
Yeah.
Let's listen.
All right.
We cannot rebuild Western civilization. We cannot rebuild the United States of America or Europe by letting millions and millions of unvetted illegal migrants come into our country. It has to stop. Thank God it stopped here, but it's got to stop there.
Thoughts?
All right. So, okay, give me the specific, pop the thing up again. Or did you already close it? Because I wanted his specific words, because I wanted to break it down word by word.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
I'm trying to figure out when Suicide Weekend was. Boomerang Suicide Weekend, August 26th. I don't know. I think that the Kash thing would make that come up a little bit earlier. Oh, Lord.
Hold on.
There, just right there. Okay, JD Vance says we cannot rebuild Western civilization with millions of illegal aliens. Okay, one, the vice president is already talking about millions of illegal aliens, and we're working on that issue right now. But what I wanted to focus on was that we cannot rebuild. And rebuild, to me, is the key word. Rebuild Western civilization. The rebuilding means that it has been destroyed, and that it's time to build again, therefore rebuild. And then Western civilization. That means that it's something much more than the United States. We're not doing this for all of the United States. We have to rebuild all of Western civilization. Keep in mind, Mexico fought a war of independence from Spain, which we would have supported because we wanted the European powers to get away from us. That's why we came over on this side of the pond. Well, Mexico's been corrupted, which is a destruction of Western civilization. How many buildings have been torn down? All of the hard, well-crafted, worked by hand buildings that were here have been torn down simply because of modernization. That is a destruction of Western civilization. And we do need to get back and to tie in the whole Tartaria thing and all of this. We need to get back to building that beauty. And that's something that's being spoken of in architecture circles, where they're talking about, they are teaching classical building techniques that utilize oh God, what are it's 3 different aspects of it. And because I'm not an architect, I'm not going to be able to put it off the top of my head, but basically proportion and all of those things, artistic type of functions that are integral to the part of Western civilization. Western civilization is going to be rebuilt, and it's not going to be built off of the backs of slave labor. And that is what America needs, is we need to build it. We need to build it ourselves, and it needs to be built right, which means that the destruction had to happen before to give us the opportunity to do it the right way now.
Yeah.
Crack that whip. What's up, Crack That Whip? Thanks for joining.
Right.
Wendy says, found a new recipe for popcorn. How do you accidentally find a popcorn recipe?
I don't know.
May try it in the next few weeks. Well, I think that there's a good need for a lot of popcorn here real quick.
Yes.
Yeah, probably want to start talking to your friends that aren't awake yet about Epstein Island, because I have a sneaky suspicion that there's going to be a lot of conversations here real soon.
Real soon.
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you read that, please?
The big lie about all these plane crashes that legacy media is telling us.
Let's listen.
I'm glad we can have this conversation.
A plane crash has occurred in Marana, Arizona.
If you're watching liberal news, you're probably wondering, why are all these plane crashes happening? Like, there's never been this many plane crashes. It must be because of Trump. For those of you who think that way, let me introduce you to the NTSB's monthly accident tracker. In January of 2025, there's so much talk about the awful things Donald Trump has done to the FAA. There were 62 accidents. January of last year, there was 80. In 2023, there were 89. 22, there was 82. 21, there were 74. Back in 2020, there were 89. So every single year Joe Biden was in office, there were more crashes in the month of January. But the news didn't tell you to panic about that. They told you to panic about 62. Oh, and in February, where all these crashes are happening, there was 25. February of last year, there were 93, then 81, 99, 90, 96. Guys, if you're losing your shit over 25, wait till we get to these months. Please recognize that if you're only panicking because the media told you to, you're a fucking sheep.
All right. So there's a lot going on with this. Okay, yes, the numbers have been significantly higher. This is also something that was used when all the train crashes were happening. They were telling us the same thing. Hey, there were tons of trains crashing before. The difference was that the trains weren't spilling all of the toxic everything that they could muster up in all of our water supply. That was the big difference. But that was what they used to try to silence the people trying to tell the truth about all the bad things going on with the trains, a la East Palestine, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so there have been a lot more plane crashes, but they're being highlighted. I think the reason why the media is highlighting these specific crashes is because they're trying to stick it in people's eyes, because there were people on there that were important in terms of the things that the kinds of work that they were doing, i.e. a cure for cancer or something like that. I believe that that's why these specific crashes are being highlighted, because really, if you think about it, if there were 80 something crashes the February before, why is a big deal being made now? But also keep in mind, one of the big things that we're finding out is that they're not telling us any information about the pilots themselves, which indicates how the press works. Excuse me. Understanding how the press works, it's the information that they don't tell us is the real story about a lot of these things. And what they're not telling us is the gender of the pilots who were flying these planes. And so I have a feeling that it's the press saying that, yeah, this DEI thing ain't working out so well. Keep in mind, as all of these plane crashes have been happening, Pepsi decided that they were getting rid of their DEI policies as of today, if I'm not mistaken. So these are kind of it's kind of the war that's going on in the background that you got to be paying attention to understand how it's affecting different areas that really have absolutely nothing to do otherwise, like Pepsi. What does Pepsi have to do with the airlines other than DEI? I think that that's where a lot of this is going. These are the quiet communications that aren't. It's the reading between the lines. Hey, Nylon, what's going on? Thanks for joining.
You ready?
Yeah. Nylon Camel.
Can you read that, please?
Yeah. Delta CEO Ed Bastian? Bastian? Hold on a second. Oh, Lord have mercy. Let go. Oh,
And
geez.
you
Now I
can-
lost my camera. See?
Yep.
That's why we don't have nice things.
I know.
All right.
'cause of
Anyways,
you.
I'll read this and I'll figure it out. Delta CEO Ed Bastian leaves CBS's Gayle King shocked as he defends Trump administration cuts.
Let's listen.
There we go. Nice.
know the Trump administration recently fired many employees of the FAA administration. Do those cuts worry you? And do you think that impacts the safety? I know you just said it's the safest way to travel, but after looking at all these mishaps, a lot of people are very nervous. Do these cuts affect you?
The cuts do not affect us, Gayle. I've been in close communication with the Secretary of Transportation. I understand that the cuts at this time are something that are raising questions, but the reality is there's over 50,000 people that work at the FAA, and the cuts, I understand, were 300 people, and they were in non-critical safety functions. The Trump administration has committed to investing deeply in terms of improving the overall technologies that are used in the air traffic control systems and modernizing the skies. They've committed to hiring additional controllers and investigators and safety investigators. So no, I'm not concerned with that at all.
Yes, Jenny, that is Oprah's best friend.
BFFs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just looking him up. I really don't know much anything about him.
I'm talking about her thoughts.
Wait, her who? What?
Gayle King, that's
Oh,
Oprah's-
Gayle King is Oprah's best friend?
Yeah.
Okay. He's from Poughkeepsie. Interesting. Anyways, all right. Didn't have enough time to check stuff out because cameras and all that jazz. All right. So again, more counter to what the narrative that the press wants to put out, and this time by somebody who's the CEO of a company. And it would be disrespectful if she sat there, I guess, and tried to grill him, because she'd never get any advertising dollars from Delta ever again. And that would be a bad political move. So she has to sit there and take it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what needs to happen. Again, we have to take down brick by brick all of these legacy media organizations. And so the way you do that is by showing that they aren't telling the whole truth. Again, what makes journalism work is their ability to present information that is good for everybody, that is not colored by any personal bias. And the press is being shown to have all of the bias. And so these are the exact same things that need to happen, so that way people stop caring. It's like, if everything they say is wrong, then why am I going to keep watching them? And it's not something that happens consciously. It's something that will happen subconsciously as time goes on. But keep in mind, this is the exact same tactic that the legacy media used to discredit and diminish what real experts used to say back in the day, as the legacy media was trying to control the narrative, which is not what the media is supposed to do. You're just supposed to report the news, and it's just not working anymore. It's weird how that's happening. It's almost like there's some kind of attempt to wake people up.
Yeah,
Crazy.
exactly.
Crazy.
You ready?
Yes.
Can you read that, please?
Jeffrey Sachs to Tucker Carlson. We just had the most important day for peace in maybe decades.
Let's listen.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, yesterday was the most important day for peace in maybe decades, actually. This war in Ukraine resulted from a very bad idea of the United States taken in 1994. It's a project. The project was a project to expand NATO forever, anywhere. Just keep moving east. Keep moving not only to the first wave, which was the prime minister's country, Hungary, Czech Republic, and Slovakia, but then move eastward, closer to the former Soviet Union, into the former Soviet Union, surround Russia in the Black Sea region, go all the way to a little country in the South Caucasus, Georgia. It was mind-boggling. Clinton signed on to that in 1994. It became what we call the deep state project, meaning it didn't really matter who the president was. each president would come and basically would be informed. NATO's moving eastward. You're part of that process. So Clinton started it in 1994. And as Prime Minister Orban said, he mentioned briefly, in 1990, on February 9th, 1990, in unequivocal, clear as can be terms, the United States had said to President Mikhail Gorbachev, NATO will not move 1 inch eastward. And if you have any doubt about it, all the documents are now online, available. You can scrutinize everything. Hans-Dietrich Genscher, the German foreign minister, said the same thing, same day. He's on tape actually explaining, no, I don't just mean within Eastern Germany, I mean anywhere to the east. Clinton, being Clinton, and the U.S. deep state being the U.S. deep state, started this project in 1994. They already had the idea, by the way, in 1991, 92, as soon as the Soviet Union ended. Aha, now we move. Now we move eastward. Now we control everything. Now we are the sole superpower. So this has gone on for 30 years. And each president got into it. Under George Bush Jr., 7 more countries were added: Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Slovakia, Slovenia, Bulgaria, and Romania in 2004. Then in 2007, President Putin said at the summit that's taking place right now, the Munich Security Summit, said, stop. You told us no expansion, not an eastward expansion, even an inch, you said. You've now done 10 countries. Stop. Perfectly reasonable. Stop. I don't think our president, Donald Trump, would much like to see China and Russia building their military bases up from Central America. You know, this was how the Russians saw this. Why are you coming to our border when you told us you weren't going to move? And there was one other thing that was very important in this, which is probably the most decisive thing and almost not even recognized. In 2002, the U.S. did something really, really, really destabilizing. And that is it unilaterally left the anti-ballistic missile treaty. That was a core strategy to stop a nuclear war between the two superpowers, because what ABM had done for 30 years was to say, we each have deterrence. If you strike us, we can strike back. We'll limit our anti-ballistic missiles so that both sides maintain deterrence. In 2002, the United States unilaterally, unprovoked, walked out of ABM, said, no, we're not going to do it anymore. We're going to put anti-ballistic missile systems into Russia's bordering territories. The Russians said, are you kidding? The U.S. said, what's your problem? We do what we want. So in 2007, Putin said, stop already. In 2008, George Bush Jr. doubled down, as Americans typically do, and said, okay, now we're moving to Ukraine and to Georgia. That was why this war occurred. But Ukraine had one more sliver of life, and that was that they elected a president in 2010 that didn't want to be part of NATO. And the public didn't want to be part of NATO. Why? Because they knew this is very dangerous. Why get into this provocative situation? His name was Viktor Yanukovych. Americans don't like neutrality, but Yanukovych was trying to be neutral between the two sides. And the U.S. played a rather unfortunate role on February 22nd, 2014, in a violent overthrow of this person. And that's when the war started. And it's been now 10 years, and no president has told the truth until yesterday, by the way. Yesterday is a historic day because a call took place between President Putin and President Trump. It was the first call. We don't know if there had been a short call beforehand between the two of them, but there was no call by Biden and Putin. With war going on for 3 years, no call. And now there was a call, and the readout from the American side was excellent. What President Trump said in the call was, we respect Russia. We hear Russia's concerns. We fought on the same side in World War II. Nice point, by the way. True. Russia lost, Soviet Union lost 27 million people in World War II and was an ally of the United States, a fact that wasn't mentioned for years and years and years by President Biden. And then the defense secretary, Hegseth, the new defense secretary, said yesterday the truth for the first time, that Ukraine is not going to join NATO. This is the basis for peace. This is absolutely the basis for peace. And they couldn't tell the truth for 3 decades. They could not admit what any of us knew, because I've been around this region for 36 years in detail. I sat with Boris Yeltsin. I sat with Mikhail Gorbachev. But the Americans would not tell the truth publicly until yesterday, that this was so provocative. It was a game. They thought they'd win the game. I don't know how many people here play or played in their childhood the game of Risk. The game of Risk was a big game for me. You wanted your piece on every part of the world map. That was the game. When you took over the whole world hegemony, we now call it, you won. They're playing that game until this administration. So the three important things have happened, in my view, in this administration so far. First, our new Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, told the fundamental truth. We are in a multipolar world. First time the sentence was uttered, he told the truth. What does it mean? The American mindset for 30 years was, we run the show. Marco Rubio said, well, we don't run the show. We live with other powerful countries. Great start. Second and third were the two events yesterday. So I'm feeling about peace that this is really something that happened yesterday. If they follow through, we know what Washington is like. There's every crazy idea swarming still. A project of 30 years doesn't go down necessarily in one phone call or one statement by the Secretary of Defense, but it's pretty important that it was said so publicly and so visibly. And of course, Europe is in a tizzy because Europe signed on to the U.S. project. All these politicians in Europe are there where they are because they were part of the U.S. project. And now the U.S. is reversing its project. And you didn't tell us, and what are we supposed to do? We're way out there. And so they're completely befuddled. And I have to say, I told them personally, many of these leaders, and I mean personally, one by one, for years, you are going to get trapped this way because this project doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. It's a game for the Americans, but it's life and death for the Russians. So it cannot be won by the American side. It's impossible. And I tried to tell them, and nobody in Europe either had the clarity or the guts to see it, except the person that preceded me in this seat, Prime Minister Orban, because he was completely clear about this from the first day. Now others are starting, but even till today, the Europeans can't get it because they're so deeply invested in something that makes no sense. They should have said, Russia's big, it lives near us, let's cooperate. That's how you do it.
Thoughts?
Excellent. Was so well said. Let's see. Chachi said Ukraine and their globalist handlers are in a tight spot right now where DJT wants them. And here's something as to how that's kind of working out. And it does have to play with the NATO map. And let me go ahead and pull that one up as it's grown over time. And I remember all of those statements. We're not going to go past just East Germany is going to be a part of NATO. But look at all of these other countries that have come to NATO ever since. Now, let's see, Turkey was there a while ago. But anyways, these things are the very things that cause Russia to make the moves that it does, because it is looking for its, longevity as a nation. That's what countries do. And so by taking away all of these allies in Eastern Europe and forcing Russia further and further back, didn't work out for Napoleon and so many others, but first forcing Russia further and further back, that they decided that they were going to go start working with China, and that had very, very bad implications for that one. And so what's happening here, because President Trump is coming back into office, all the exposure that's happened, and it's going to tie directly back to our previous president, in which case they won't, in a way that they won't be able to deny or dismiss. Once that information is made public and it's part of the judicial records that will be coming about, it's going to force Ukraine in a spot where, do I want to side with the rest of Europe and possibly the United States and piss off the next door neighbors? That would be Russia. So that way we would be the first ones to go through all these problems. Or do we want to play nice with the people that are surrounding us? It's probably a good idea. You want to play nice with your neighbors, because if you don't play nice with your neighbors, then every single time you go home, it's going to suck.
Yeah.
And that's so Ukraine is being forced into a spot where the corrupt politicians that have been running that country and making billions of dollars in fancy boats and houses in Monaco based off of the taxpayers of the American people, he has alienated that entire nation as it is right now from the people of the United States. So now Ukraine, after obviously pissing off Russia to the point where they're going to send troops in, and now they've pissed off the American people, and the Euro countries over there don't have the money because they're the ones that have been stealing everybody's money that has been paying taxes over there in Europe. They are finding themselves all alone. And now that they're finding themselves all alone, they are going to have to come back to something we like to call reality, and they will have to make real deals moving forward, because they're just one little tiny nation when you've pissed off two superpowers.
Yeah.
So, yeah, lots of changes happening.
Yeah.
What's up, Randu?
Glad you're here.
Glad you made it.
You ready?
Yeah.
Let's listen.
All right.
When a man who's never been appreciated crosses paths with a woman who's never been loved right, you better watch out. That's a power couple in the making. Two people who've been through hell lifted themselves out, and now they're not just surviving, they're thriving together. One unit, one team, a force nobody can mess with. If you believe in that kind of love, drop a heart and share this with.
Thoughts?
All right. So many people have gone through so many traumatic experiences in a relationship. And when two people have had traumatic relationships beforehand, and then they get together and they recognize that these aren't the things that they want in life, they really do make a power couple because they have overcome so much. Now, the corollary to, they're not corollary, but the addendum to that would be, is that it's very important for the personal growth to happen before those two actually are able to get together, because they're not bringing in all their baggage from the previous relationships into this new, what would otherwise be a perfect relationship. Now, Kay and I weren't completely done working on our past traumas before, but it was that connection with each other because of the traumas that we had in previous relationships that actually made us stick more to each other in all of the tempests that life provides. And so it is something that can truly make a relationship strong, because after you've been through hell, you're going to do whatever you can to hang on to the heaven that you do have. And so You may not have that heaven right now. But with that being said, you are being given the lessons in life to be able to grow and to have a healthy relationship in the future. So that way it doesn't have the ability to taint the good relationship that you're heading toward. So be thankful for the challenges that you have in your life, because it's preparing you for the gift that you are going to receive.
Count it all joy.
Count it all joy, and recognize that that these things, everything happens for a reason, and that you can't appreciate the light until you've been through the dark.
Absolutely. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you,
Amen.
Carol.
You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's listen.
All right. Musashi.
Miyamoto Musashi once said, "It is better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war, because when chaos comes knocking, it doesn't wait for you to be ready. Strength is not just for battle. It is for life, for the unexpected, for the storms you don't see coming. A warrior in a garden lives with peace but stands prepared. A gardener in a war, he is nothing but prey. Life will not warn you before it strikes. The storm will not ask if you can swim. The fire will not wait for you to become fireproof. A warrior does not wait for war to train. A king does not wait for chaos to lead. And you cannot wait for hardship to build the strength to overcome it. Will you prepare for war in times of peace, or pray for peace when war finds you?"
Thoughts?
So much truth in there. The storm doesn't care. Fire doesn't care. And trouble doesn't care. And we know from what Jesus said that there are going to be trials in our life. However, he's going to be there every step of the way. And every single trial we go through is to make us a better person. Every single time. Every single time. Every single time we go through something, it makes us better. And not only does it make us better, but it helps us when we go and meet new people. Because if you haven't gone through things, how are you going to help anyone? Share your testimony. Share what you've been through. Don't hold it in. And be prepared. You don't wait for war to break out before you start training. I know. I'm married to a Marine. They trained constantly. You train in peacetime, but you pray for peace. Seasoning?
Okay, so I don't believe that the war thing is what we're looking for here. What
Right.
we're actually looking for is the lesson of being prepared for whatever eventuality
Whatever.
may come in life. And one of the tidbits of wisdom that the Marine Corps provides is it's better to sweat in peace than to bleed in war. And that is the mentality of being prepared. And that the only way that you can be prepared for anything in life is to harden yourself against all of the problems in the world. So like they said, you can't learn how to fight fires in the middle of a fire.
No.
You have to learn how to fight a fire before you decide that you're going to go, try to put a fire out, right? And it could be something as simple as understanding the acronym for using a fire extinguisher. PASS, pull, aim, squeeze, sweep is how you're supposed to do it. And you sweep in a Z pattern, et cetera, understand which way you fight the fire, all these other things. And so you see these things that are concerns for you in your life. And so what do you do about those things? Well, you do what you can to prepare yourself for any eventuality. Keep in mind the story of Joseph, where he had to interpret Pharaoh's dream, the dreams of the what was it, four cows the wheat?
Seven.
Seven cows. I wish I could remember
Was for the
specifically.
7 years.
Anyways, so 7 healthy cows, which ended up getting eaten by 7 emaciated cows. And same thing with the 7 heads or sheaves of wheat, healthy being consumed by the 7 terrible years of famine that were coming, is how he interpreted the dream. And so the war at that point in time was recognizing we are going to have an abundance. And when you have abundance in your life, that's when you put in the storehouse. So that way, when the times are lean, you can make it through those lean times because you were prepared for it. And that's what the principle behind what is being said tonight is that when things are good and things are about to be good, it doesn't mean that things are always going to be good. And so we need to make sure that we're prepared for as many eventualities as possible, but we recognize in the end that it is God who makes us through these situations. But if what is put on your heart is to prepare for this or that or the other thing, then by all means prepare for it, because that's what you're being led to do. Always be prepared for any eventuality. And it may not be for your personal good so much as the good for those around you. We don't know why we get the inspirations we do, especially when it's to do something to counter any kind of issue. It may not be selfish. It may be to help other people out. So make sure that you are prepared for the problems that you see in your life. And if there's something that's bugging you and it keeps on nagging at you, then that's probably telling you it's something that you need to get work on. Needs improvement kind of section of life. So make sure that you are doing the preparations in life. So that way, when times are lean, that it goes much more smoothly and it goes better.
Absolutely. And remember, whether it's good or bad, this too shall pass. Liberty, please feel better. Thank you so much for hanging with us.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. Have a great night.
Yeah, feel better.
Yeah, feel better.
And that wraps it up.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the night anyways. So we are truly grateful that all of y'all joined us tonight. And we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Rumble, and pill.net.
And if you haven't already, please take a minute and give us that virtual hug. If you're over on Rumble or YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're over on pill.net, take that red pill. If you're over on X, smash that heart. And if you're on Facebook, you're our family. You love to push buttons, just like we push buttons. So go over there and clickety-click away.
All right, everybody. We do truly appreciate each and every one of you joining tonight, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. We love you all. Have a great night. Be safe, and God bless each and every one of you.